This is your girl Wakeji Kamore, and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. All right, so it is good to be back. I know you guys are wondering, but this chick, she keeps going off, coming back, going off, coming back. But let me be honest, because we can be honest with each other. First, if you're a guest here, karibu sana, you are not in the wrong place. I'm about to do some housekeeping, so it's okay, just sit through it. This is for the people who listen to me on a daily. So the reason why I had disappeared is because I was having an Elijah moment where I was like, well, I was a little bit sad. I was really feeling like, guy, what are we even doing here? Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Elijah moment, that's because even you have not been listening, because that is basically the last chapter that I did, which is First Kings chapter 19, where Elijah became very, very afraid, very discouraged, and he just went and had a depressed moment. That is exactly what happened to me. So let me tell you what made me feel discouraged. I know it will look so petty, but ni channel yangu na mimi naweza sema zile vitu ziko kwa roho yangu. So I felt so bad because I recorded a whole voice note for chapter 18, and it didn't have sound. And at the end of the day, it was showing that I had 15 listeners, people who had listened to that recording, and only one person told me, by the way, Emily, your recording haikuwa na sound. So I was like, these other 14 fellows who are just listening to this thing and it has no sound, are you really listening? Like, why didn't any one of you guys reach out to me to just tell me, Emily, this thing has no sound? Like, there's no sound in this recording. So I was very offended, and I was just like, Sasa, why am I even doing this? So just read the Bible for myself and just be done with doing this. Let me tell you guys, that is the space I was in. So first I wanted to thank you, Irene. Irene, thank you so much. Irene Sadia. What's her full name, so that if you're another Irene there, you're not thinking you're the one. You are not the one. I'm talking about Irene Sadia. Thank you so, so much for always encouraging me, always calling me to check up on me and asking me, okay, G, are you okay? Like, she just, thank you. Yani, Irene, I cannot say thank you enough. Thank you for pulling me out of my hole. Thank you for reminding me why I do this, that it is a role and a task that I was given by God, and I have to continue doing it. Whether 14 people are listening to a no sound recording and not telling me. Actually, to be honest, you guys, I was offended, but it's okay. I have forgiven you. I know it doesn't sound like I have, but the forgiveness is a journey, and I am here. Okay, let me not continue yapping. But Irene, thank you so very much. What you do for me means a lot for me, and it means a lot to me. You always check up on me. You always ask me, are you okay when I don't post? You always tell me when, like, you always give me feedback. You always share your thoughts about the chapters. Yani, thank you so very much. I appreciate you, and may the Lord truly, truly bless you. Yani, where you're those people, what are they called? What are they called? You guys, you know what they are called? Vision what? Irene, I know what I'm saying. You know what I'm trying to say. And you are exactly that. You really, really help. Is it vision helpers? Something like that. You really, really are one for me. And thank you so very much for being such a helper for me and such an encourager for me. Anyway, let's get on to it. Today we are going to be reading 1 Kings chapter 20, which is the book that we are about to finish. We only have 2 more chapters to go after we have done with chapter 20, because 1 King has 22 chapters. If you're here for the very first time, thank you so much for joining. Please click the subscribe button. Be a good listener. Don't be like the 14 that listened and didn't tell me. Be a good one. Make a difference. I will not stop making noise about the rest of you. Sitawacha kupiga kelele, lakini nimewasamehe because the Lord is helping me forgive you guys, and the Lord keeps reminding me that this is more for me than it is for anybody else. And then if he picks it and uses it to bring someone else closer to the word of God, to bring someone else closer to himself, well and good, glory to him. All right, 1 Kings chapter 20. So this is happening after Elijah has had his depressed moment. God has spoken to him. He's been given a new duty, a new call, a new task. This is what you need to go and do. And he has done it. All right, so I'm going to be reading this from the ERV version. I know it's not the NLT that I usually read, but it has so many words. I just felt like it was such a busy chapter, so I needed to read it in an easy-to-read version. I need to read it in English that is easy to understand. All right, let's get on with it. It says, King Ben-hadad of Aram gathered his army together. There were 32 kings with him and many horses and chariots. They surrounded Samaria and attacked it. The king sent messengers to King Ahab of Israel who were inside the city, and the message was, Ben-hadad says, your silver and your gold are mine, so are the best of your wives and children. All right, so this chapter, let me first try and see whether I can break it down a little bit. So this chapter is basically a chapter about this king called King Ben-hadad. King Ben-hadad was the king for the Arameans. Arameans were basically people who were not Israelites. They were just the Arameans. That's just what you need to know. And then King Ben-hadad King Ben-hadad and King Aram and 32 other kings. King Ben-hadad, who was king of Aram, and 32 other kings surrounded and attacked Samaria. Now, Samaria was part of the northern kingdom where King Ahab was still king. So, again, Samaria is Israel, or rather northern kingdom, and that is where Ahab was still king. So they attacked it, and they gave an ultimatum for King Ahab to surrender, and they said, your silver and your gold, and so are the best of your wives and children are mine. So Ben-hadad ameambia Ahab, gold, silver, the best of your wives and children are mine. So the king answered, this is King Ahab, he said, yes, my lord and king, I am yours now, and everything I have belongs to you. So it looks like he's being given an ultimatum for surrender, and he looks like he is actually agreeing to this condition of your silver and gold are mine. Right, let's read verse 5. It says, then the messengers came back to Ahab, and they said, Ben-hadad said, I told you before that all your silver and gold and your wives and children belong to me. So give them to me. Tomorrow I'll send my men to search through your house and through the houses of your officials. Give my men all your valuables, and they will bring them back to me. So King Ahab called a meeting of all the elders of his country and said, look, Ben-hadad is looking for trouble. First he told me that I must give him my wives and my children and my silver and gold, and I agreed to give them to him. But the elders and all the people said, don't obey him and don't do what he says. So Ahab sent a message to Ben-hadad that said, I will do what you said at first, but I cannot obey your second command. All right, let's pause there. So what was the first command and what is the second thing? So the first thing this king of Aram said is that he wanted silver, gold, wives, and children of King Ahab. But the second one, he actually said that he also wants all the official valuables. And that is where King Ahab was like, no, this is where I am drawing the line. Like, no. Like, it's just basically to say, now let's just fight. If we are going to fight, let's just fight. Let's just go to a battle and actually fight this out. All right. So King Ben-hadad's man carried the message to the king. Then they came back with another message from Ben-hadad that said, I will completely destroy Samaria. I promise that there will be nothing left of that city. There will not be enough of that city left for my men to find any souvenirs to take home. May the gods destroy me if I cannot do this. So King Ahab answered, tell Ben-hadad that the man who puts on his armor should not boast as much as the man who lives long enough to take it off. So it's basically wamesema, we have drawn the battle lines, mimi sitakubali hizo ultimatum zako, put on your armor, I'll put on mine, let's fight, let's see who wins. So that's basically what they have done. So King Ben-hadad, can we just call this guy King Ben? Because Ben-hadad is just a bit too hard for me. King Ben was drinking in his tent with other rulers when the messenger came back and gave him this message from King Ahab. So King Ben commanded his men to prepare to attack the city, so the men moved into their places for the battle. Then a prophet went to King Ahab and said, King Ahab, the Lord says to you, do you see that great army? I will defeat that army for you today. Then you will know that I am the Lord. Ahab said, Who will you use to defeat them? The prophet said, The Lord said, the young men who carry the weapons for the government officials. Then the king asked, Who should command the main army? The prophet answered, You will. So Ahab gathered the young helpers of the governor officials, and there were 232 of these young men. Then the king called together the army of Israel, and the total number was 7,000. So King Ahab began to attack at noon while King Ben and the 32 kings were drinking and getting drunk in their tents. Why are they drinking instead of fighting? It's because they're overconfident, because they're like, what? We are like 33 kingdoms. Like, really, who can beat us? So that's what they're doing. They're drinking. The young helpers went out fast. King Ben's men told him that some soldiers had come out of Samaria. So Ben said, They might be coming to fight, or they might be coming to ask for peace. Capture them alive. The young men of King Ahab were the first to come out, but the rest of the army of Israel was following them. Each of the men of Israel killed the man who had come against him. So the men from Aram began to run away, and the army of Israel chased them. King Ben escaped on a horse with the chariots. King Ahab led the army and attacked all the horses and chariots. So King Ahab made the Arameans suffer a great defeat. Then the prophet went to King Ahab and said, The king of Aram will come back to fight again next spring. So go back and strengthen your army and make careful plans to defend yourself against him. All right, so first battle has happened and King Ahab has won. King Ben has run away, but he's planning to come back again the following year, the following spring. So King Ben officials say to him, The gods of Israel are mountain gods. We fought in the mountain area, so the Israelites won. If we fight them on the level ground, we will win. Also, do not let the 32 kings command the armies. Put your commander in charge of the armies. Let's gather an army like the one that they destroyed. Gather as many men, as many horses, as many chariots as before, and fight the Israelites on the level ground. Then we will win. King Ben followed their advice and did what they said. So in spring, King Ben gathered the men of Aram and went to Aphek to fight against Israel. The Israelites also prepared for war and went to fight against the army of Aram. They made their camp opposite their camp of Aram. The Aramean soldiers filled the land, but the Israelites' army looked like 2 flocks of goats. Oh yeah. What? Some things only take God. Like, how are you going to fight an army and you look like 2 flocks of goats? And the people you're going to fight against wamejaza a whole field. There are so many. Please remember, these are 33 kingdoms coming to fight against Israel. I like the way God does things. Like, he's not going to give you victory over one kingdom. Then now, how is he great? See, the odds needs to be odds. The odds needs to be against you for God to come in and just show off and just be like, wow, let me show you how great I am. Anyway, let me not get carried away. Verse 28, a man of God came to the king of Israel with this message. The Lord said, the people of Aram say that I am the Lord. I, the Lord, I am a God of the mountains and not a God of the valley. So I will let you defeat this great army. Then all of you will know that I am the Lord wherever you are. Kama uko juu ya mountains, kama uko in plain grounds, I am the Lord. And you cannot sit there and put me in a box that I am the Lord of the mountain. Hiyo ni kusema nini? Nitawashow. Okay. Verse 29. I promise you guys, we will finish this chapter. The armies were camped across from each other for 7 days. On the 7th day, the battle began. The Israelites killed 100,000 Aramean soldiers in one day. The survivors ran away to the city of Aphek, and the wall of the city fell on 27,000 of those soldiers. How do you even explain a whole wall of a city falling down on soldiers? Like, that has to be God. So King Ben also ran away to the city and hid in a room. His servants said to him, "We heard that the kings of Israel are merciful. Let's dress in rough clothes and rope on our heads? Then let's go to the king of Israel. Maybe he will let us live. They dressed in rough clothes with ropes on their heads, and they came to the king of Israel and they said, your servant Ben-hadad says, please let me live. Ahab said, is he still alive? He's my brother. Ben-hadad men wanted King Ahab to say something to show that he would not kill King Ben. When Ahab called King Ben his brother, the advisor quickly said, yes, King Ben is your brother. Ahab said, bring him to me. So King Ben was brought to King Ahab. King Ahab asked him to get into the chariot with him. King Ben said to him, Ahab, I will give you the towns of my father that my father took from your father, and you can put up shops in Damascus as your father did in Samaria. Ahab said, if you agree to this, I will let you go free. So the two kings made a peace agreement, and then King Ahab let King Ben go free. So again, as you can see, King Ahab here is completely worrying about his self-interests. He only wants to grow wealthier. He wants to expand himself. So now he has decided to not kill this king, a king that God, and like these Arameans, God had every intention to completely wipe them out. But what has King Ahab done? He has made a treaty with this king, and now he has let him go because he has promised to get something from there. Like he's gotten land, he's gotten towns from there, and he can put up shops. And of course, he's going to expand himself. All right. Verse 35. One of the prophets told another prophet, hit me. But then let me tell you guys, this verse, this specific part really confused me. I wasn't quite understanding. So one of the prophets told another prophet, hit me. He said that because the Lord had commanded it, but the other prophet refused to hit him. So the first prophet said, you did not obey the Lord's command, so a lion will kill you when you leave this place. When the second prophet left, a lion killed him. All right, let's just pause there. So first, this guy is one prophet to another prophet. I believe that both of them had heard what God had commanded. Rather, God had commanded, huyu prophet moja agonge huyu. And the reason why he needed to be hit is because he needed to look like he had been hurt before he went to present himself to King Ahab. He needed to look like he has been in a battle or something. So this other prophet didn't listen, so he was eaten by a lion. I was just like, wow, that's harsh. But anyway, I feel like God has there's a more severe, I think, punishment for those that are actually prophets of God, or people that, serve in the Lord's kingdom, people like pastors and priests. And I feel like when you get when you disobey, when you're you're not a priest, you're not a pastor, you're not a prophet, I feel like there's a lot of grace. I could be wrong, guys. What I'm saying is not necessarily scriptural. But I feel like when you're a priest and you're a prophet and you're a man of God and you disobey God, chako kikomotoni. I feel like, anyway, that's how I feel. I could be wrong. I could be right. You guys tell me. So anyway, the first prophet went to another man, I guess, another prophet, and he said, hit me. The man hit him and hurt the prophet. So the prophet wrapped his face with a cloth. This way, no one could see who he was. The prophet went and waited for the king by the road. The king came by, and the prophet said to him, I went to fight in the battle, and one of the men brought an enemy soldier to me. The man said, guard this man. If he runs away, you will have to give your life in his place, or you will have to pay a fine of 75 pounds of silver. While I was busy doing other things, the man ran away. The king of Israel answered, you admitted that you are guilty, so you know the answer. You must do what the man said. Then the prophet quickly took the cloth off from his face, and the king of Israel saw that he was one of the prophets. Then the prophet said to the king, the Lord says to you, you set the man I said should die. You set free the man I said should die. So you will take his place. You and your people will die. Then the king went back to Samaria, and he was worried and upset. Well, all right. Oh, there's a lot to learn from this chapter. But let me just tell you what I think my takeouts are. First, I feel like King Ahab did not even deserve these 2 victories in battles. I mean, this guy was like the worst king of Israel. He deserved to be beaten by the Arameans and to just die. Like, honestly, he did. But God was so merciful and gracious that God gave Ahab and his wives Ahab and his wife many chances to see him as a true God. Yet they were blinded by their own selfish desires. Like, even in these specific battles, God is like, I will make you win this battle so that you can know I am the true God, so that people can know I am the Lord. Yet what do? This guy still went and disobeyed. But like, who are you, King Ben? He went and made a treaty with him. God gave Ahab and Jezebel 1,000,001 chances. Okay, maybe 1,000,000 is too much. I'm a sanguine, exaggerate things. So God gave Ahab and Jezebel enough chances for them to actually see that God was a true God. And it's not like they didn't. They did see that God was because God didn't fail in all of those chances that he was trying to prove himself as a true God. He didn't fail. In all of them, he was like, yeah, I am a true God. See what I can do. But yet, they were blinded by their own selfish desires. So first, questions for us. How many times has God proven himself to you? Where in your life, how many times has God proven himself to you? And how many times has he extended such undeserved victories, undeserved grace, and deserved mercies to us? For me, it's countless. Honestly, it is countless times. So how do we respond? Do we ignore it and continue pursuing our own gains? Or do we acknowledge God and turn away from our sinful nature? Which is it that you do? Do you ignore and you continue pursuing your own gains like this King Ahab and Jezebel? Or do you acknowledge that God is a true God and turn away from your sinful nature? Tafakari hayo. This is your girl Okeji Kamore, and this has been Reflections by Okeji Kamore. See you tomorrow.